Can you hear me well? Yay, thank you. I'll wait for a couple of minutes to have people sit down again. Cool. I think we can get started. My name is Fedor Mihailescu. I'm a co-founder and CEO at Speechify. And I will speak to you today about how artificial intelligence can empower the next generation of social media creators. My background is in content creation, but also in technology. I actually did a PhD on how American presidents write their speeches. I've been writing for publications such as Forbes and created Speechify with my co-founder Valentin that you heard from earlier today. Speechify is an AI-powered platform that helps organizations engage amateur content creators in word-of-mouth social media campaigns. And expression is very important to me because of an experience I had when I was little. I'm actually left-handed, but I was forced to write with my right hand. So I actually struggled all throughout school to write, and I even stammered for a very long time. So having to express yourself in a medium that you're not very good at and struggling with that is something that is really personal to me. And many people experience that online. Very few people actually know how to create great content, but everyone is expected to take part in this online community that is supposed to be an extension of our physical selves. So, why are we having this conversation? Did you know that in the next 5 years, more than 1 billion people will self-identify as content creators? This is part of the emerging what's called the creator economy. But the interesting thing with this point is that only 50 million of those are actually what's called influencers, people who get paid to post things. Most of these people are people like me and you who just care about having a social media footprint and care about creating good content on various social networks. So what does this mean? 1 billion content creators in the next 5 years. And where is it coming from? If you look at how digital marketing has changed over the last 20 years, you notice one big shift in every decade. In the 2000s, there were very few high-quality websites, so brands wanted to put their banners on those high-quality websites, and that's how banner marketing got emerged. In the 2010s, social media started emerging and took the forefront of the online space, but there were very few content creators, but a lot of consumers. So digital ads worked great because the organizations could serve ads to this large pool of consumers of content. This has started changing recently. Ads don't work anymore because of privacy settings, because people are fed up with actually being hit with various things that we don't really need. And people have started posting their own content, but most of them don't really know how to do that well. So our founding hypothesis is that this decade is the decade of digital word of mouth, where regular users can share online about the things they love, the things they care about, in much the same way as used to do it in the analog world, over a dinner table or at conferences and so on. So, as you could probably tell, I will focus in this presentation of one aspect of the debate in natural language generation between whether AI should automate writing tasks or it should augment and enhance regular people. Augmentation is not new. It's existed ever since speakers have existed. Can I have a show of hands who recognized the person in the middle in this picture? Cool, almost everyone. Can I have a show of hands of who recognizes the people on the left and the right of Barack Obama? Yeah, that's how most people engage with this image. So Barack Obama is actually considered one of the best speakers in history. The people on the left and on the right are named Cody Keenan and Jon Favreau, who are considered two of the best speechwriters in history. The best speakers have always been augmented by speechwriters who help them write better. And the main value of a speechwriter is actually authenticity, writing words that the speaker can identify with and own. But they do a couple of other things too. They make sure that the speaker can convey the information that their organization wants them to convey. And they also make sure that they can engage well with an audience. It's the same thing in the social media space with a twist. The twist is you also need to create content that the algorithms will pick up. And this is a little bit of a nuisance because algorithms change arbitrarily. 2 months ago, I would have posted a picture on Instagram and it would have gotten a lot of traction. If I post that same image today with the same text, no one will see it. And that's not because the rules of human interactions have changed, it's because a couple of people in a room decided that a billion people should switch to video posting on Instagram rather than image posting. So most regular folks cannot actually keep up with that. And the reason why this is important is because regular individuals want to be as expressive in their online space as they are in the physical space. They speak about various things, and this is the experience we've had at Speechify. Like, people speak about the events they're going to. They speak about the causes they're supporting. They speak about the amazing milestones that their companies have announced. They speak about donating to their favorite organizations. They speak about the products they love. And they do that willingly because these experiences are part of their living day-to-day life. But they don't know how to write. They don't know how to choose the right hashtag. They don't know how to choose the right image. And they don't know how to navigate this space where algorithms change every day and leave them behind. So that's one of the points I wanted to leave you with today, that if the dream is, and the aspiration is that the online space is an extension of our physical space, we need to make sure that the users of the internet know how to express themselves well and are empowered to have the same kind of experience that they have face-to-face. It's kind of learning how to write when you cannot write very well and everyone asks you to write by hand. Another topic that I've heard a lot spoken about lately is, okay, so where is creativity going? Where is innovation going? And how can these changes in artificial intelligence change how we are as individuals? And I think, so when I was in school, the computers were actually at the beginning. That's one of the privileges of being a millennial. You see both the online space and then what was before. And we would learn, obviously, to do math and to do calculations on our own. I would argue that it's more important these days to actually know how to use Excel well for really complex calculations. Same thing with rote learning. So when I was in school, we were being asked to memorize things by heart so that we could use that information in writing. Right now, it's more a matter of choosing what kind of information you can find on Wikipedia or in other sources and combining those and using them effectively. The space of creativity has moved and people are much more effective. It's the same thing with the evolution of artificial intelligence. It's the same thing with the evolution of how algorithms and software can help people be more expressive in a world that was not known to us 20 years ago, which is the online world and what can happen there. Yeah, and also really funny caricatures, so I just wanted to put them up there. Thank you. That was,
was such an interesting talk. It's really fascinating to me as a technologist when people found businesses based on real problems that they have seen and want to solve in the real world. Sometimes as technologists we're just too focused on the technology to see the applications. So I'd really like to open up the floor to questions. Does anyone have any questions here? Is there a question?
Hi, hello. Thank you for the presentation. I can go on the website, of course, to get this answer as well, but if there's no deep questions, I'm just curious, how does Speechify help me find my voice online? Yeah.
Speaking of what Catherine was saying, we actually looked at practices that are now common. So most organizations have started putting out what are called social share toolkits, when they give their community members text, hashtags, images that they can post about the thing the organization wants them to say. So Speechify does that, but much better and much more efficiently, where a user chooses their social network, they see draft posts that they can then customize and personalize in their own language with the use of a writing assistant to create their own unique post that takes in the input of the organization, makes sure that the hashtags and the format of the post is great for every social network, and then also helps them personalize that into their own unique way. And then they're posting it on social media. And the company or the organization can track the impact of those posts, just like you do with advertising. You can see how many clicks were generated, how many conversions, how many impressions. But you're using the power of your own community to do that, and you're also empowering all of these individuals who care about what you do, express themselves and create their own digital footprint.
Thank you. If there's no other question, I'm just curious. Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Interesting presentation. I was wondering what's next?
That's a great question. So we started out with text, we're moving into video. I think someone else was asking, they were saying that a great part of human interaction is language and body language. Would love to actually help people also create videos and images that they can be proud of, that can actually tell the story of what they wanna say. So this is the next stage for us. In terms of the future development of this space, our idea is to make users social in the online space. Right now we have Web 2.0, but the metaverse is the next step. Teaching people how to dress, for instance. Teaching people how to create their avatars. Teaching people how to engage in the metaverse in the same way as they do face-to-face or as they do in Web 2.0. The reason why this is very important is because right now only 10% of the social media population actually posts content regularly, which means that 90% are actually muzzled. If we want to democratize this space, if we want to open up this medium to everyone, to access everywhere, we need to teach them how to use it. We need to teach them how to be social. Just like you learn in kindergarten how to be social in the real world. So that's the vision behind it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Hi. Thank you very much for your talk. If you want to increase social speech, and now already the numbers are like 4% reach of content on average, and if you multiply that content, then there's an even bigger disbalance between users and loads of content there is.
So I think the way to look at it is the online space is as fragmented as the real world space. Like people communicate with each other through WhatsApp. They communicate to each other on Reddit on very specific issues. They communicate to the world on Twitter. The idea is to help them create content and express themselves in each of these media. Proliferation of content doesn't necessarily mean more noise. It means getting people to express themselves in the media that they want to be in. Whether that's a group of 10 people on a specific topic, or whether that's the world at large. I think the reason why we perceive content right now as noise is because most people don't know how to create it right. At the beginning of this, when we started working with companies, they wanted their users to share the same promotional stuff that they would put on their own social networks. We're like, why wouldn't a regular person speak the way we speak in our corporate voice at this big consumer company? And be like, because they want to speak in their own language, in their own way. So I think it's more about that. It's if you hear people around you speak about things you care about and doing it in a way that is not invasive, in a way that respects common rules about how you should communicate, then you pay attention to it. It's kind of the same thing here. We all have in our social networks those people who are actually breaking the norms of it, and they're actually too invasive, or they're too loud, or stuff like that. The sociology of human interaction applies in the digital world as well. It's just very few people actually know that.
Okay.
Hi, thank you for the talk. I'm wondering how you would troubleshoot if you get these messages and they can be personalized. You're assuming that people want to share what they care about. The other option is also that they might use the content to augment the actual message in a way that wouldn't fit the company or the organization. How do you deal with that, especially going forward? Because the people already talking now have another tool at hand to actually talk better.
That's an interesting question. If people want to vent about things, they usually don't need a writer to help them do so. What we've noticed is that it's much more difficult to actually share positive things. And there are ways to actually educate users about the impact of their words. We started, and Vant and my co-founder were speaking about the algorithm we started with, which helps people optimize their posts for social engagement. There's other things you can help users with, for instance, mental health. When you see what they're posting, to tell them, hey, this post was likely to have a negative impact on your networks. There's ways to encourage them to speak broadly. For instance, we've noticed there is actually a correlation between what kind of content is shared and how big, on Twitter at least, the echo chamber of that is. So if you have a message that goes onto one side or another, your content will probably seen inside the small echo chamber. But if your goal is actually to spread out and to have as many people hear you, then that message should be more inclusive. So there's actually ways to teach people about that. In our experience, it happened when we started and we're teaching people that positive messages can actually get reach. People were like, no, I don't think so, because Twitter likes negative messages. So if I want to have any chance to get my message out there, it needs to be punchy, it needs to be negative, it needs to be snarky, and so on. And we're like, there's other ways to generate that social engagement in a different way. This boils down to education. A lot of people want to get heard, they don't know how to, they get desperate, and then speak online in a different way than they would speak face-to-face. It happens many times where if you only interact with someone on Facebook or on Twitter and then you meet face-to-face, you realize they're not as aggressive as they are when they're online. And to us, that boils down to people trying to navigate what the algorithms tell them they should do so that they can get reach for the things they care about. I'm an optimist. I do think that there is there's potentially people out there who are bad intentioned, and I think we need to put safeguards in place for that. But at the same time, I love to think that humans are if you give them the right tools and you educate them about the impact, they'll always make the right choice.
I think we've probably got time for one last question.
Hi.
Hello.
I was thinking that you were talking about educating the users, but should the tools you're giving them not be less intuitive that they should not be educated at all, because the tools do this stuff for them.
Can you elaborate that a bit more?
If I think of my parents and want to share something. My father is not taking any courses. Should the tool not be that intuitive that he can do it? So the world can be more inclusive.
I think you make a great point. So when we started Speechify, COVID was just happening, and then we had all of these nonprofits who had older age activists who would just go from door to collect donations or to inform on specific issues. They couldn't leave the house, and they wanted to do that in the online space, but they didn't know how to post. They didn't know what hashtags to use, they didn't know what text it was like. So they used Speechify to help them communicate. And I think it's very important indeed to bring people in and to make it as intuitive as possible for everyone to be able to create a post that reflects their own voice and that can actually get heard in the space. So yeah, I think that's very important.
Well, thank you very much. That brings us to the end of our session today. So let's thank the speaker for such an insightful talk. Well, thank you very much for joining us. That wraps up the end of our NLP session today. I hope you feel inspired to take some of what you've learned back into your jobs, into your companies, and find out how NLP and conversational AI can help you in the future. And enjoy the rest of the summit today.